actually November 4th, and health professionals around the world have declared today as Earthmedic and Earthnurse Day. And here to discuss that a little bit further is Dr. James Hospitalis. He's the founder of Earthmedic. Good morning, Dr. Hospitalis.
Good morning.
All right, talk to us about Earthmedic and Earthnurse Day. What does that mean?
Thank you. Well, I took leave of my senses after I left Carfa, and I founded a global NGO in the middle of the COVID epidemic.
Nice.
But seriously, we have gotten together with doctors and nurses right around the world. And in July, we soft-launched Earthmedic and Earthnurse, which are new global non-governmental organizations to focus on health and environment-related concerns. And we're declaring Earthmedic and Earthnurse Day, November the 4th, in recognition that the World Medical Association and the International Council of Nursing have called for action on climate change, as this is the biggest problem that is facing us in the world today. And November the 4th is the anniversary of the historic Paris Agreement on climate change, where Caribbean governments played a major role with a war cry, 1.5 to stay alive. They played a major role in getting the world's governments to agree to limit, to stay below 2 degrees. All of this sounds very academic, but let me tell you, patient Earth, if the Earth was a patient,
Yeah.
I was a planet doctor, I'd be really worried. And therefore, the people who live on the Earth, the conditions for life are being eroded.
Mm-hmm.
So we are forming Earthmedic and Earthnurse Day in recognition to that the 40 million doctors and nurses in the world are on the front lines, as we see with COVID. They're the ones who deal with the outcome of the flood, of the fire. They're the ones who are dealing with the epidemics of things like we've chikungunya, and now we have COVID. And COVID is not unconnected to this problem that we're dealing with of climate change. So that's some of the background. We have a active local chapter of Earthnurses bubbling up. And you can look out first with things like locally cleanups and plant-ups to both beautify and purify environments.
Okay, so the projects that you guys are doing now would include things like you said, beautifying. You said, planting new trees, planting, I guess, things that would beautify and help us to eat, feed ourselves, yes?
Yes, you've touched on something very important. Trinidad and Tobago, for example, has a huge import food bill.
Yeah.
And the more we can encourage locally or regionally grown food and have more of a plant-based diet and less meat, it's good for our health and it's good for the planet. So those are the kinds of things that we are advocating for, actions and policies that improve the health of people and the health of the world. And that's called planetary health, where you take both into consideration. So
now,
we have some
traditionally,
major lines of action.
yeah.
First, we're recruiting doctors and nurses around the world, and we have an ambitious goal of a membership of 1.5 million within 3 years, especially in climate vulnerable regions. Now, the Caribbean is extremely climate vulnerable with the overall hotter, drier weather, as we've seen here in Trinidad and Tobago, and the monster storms that mash you up, as you say in local parlance. I went to Dominica after some of the hurricanes. Oh my God, you won't believe the damage. Right next door in Venezuela, something people don't talk about is that the drought there for many years reduced the water supply to farmers and for hydroelectricity. Venezuela lost 4 of its 5 glaciers that supply water in a more steady way. And so part of the push is not only economic and political, but it's also very much climate related and the weather changing and the land becoming harder and harder to farm. So we will be drawing attention to that and looking for actions that have benefit to both people and to the environment. Earthmedics and Earthnurses will participate in a global environmental observatory where you can report unusual things, and that's aggregated real time right around the world. And we would also be looking to do webinars and workshops to sensitize folks to this and help practitioners to see that how their day-to-day work is connected to the bigger issue of climate change and what they can do to improve their health.
That was actually what I wanted to ask you next, Dr. Hospitalis, is how how can we, people who are not doctors, get involved? Because I think that this is something that, you know, we all should care about and we all should want to be a part of. How do we get involved in Earthmedic and Earthnurse Day?
Thank you. Well, today is like a declaration of intent,
Right.
to celebrate November the 4th, since we're really still in startup mode. But the general public can become involved down the line. We'll be running more broadly based educational programs and things like plant up and cleanups, or cleanups and plant ups, especially in deprived areas. That's something everyone can join in. And we'll be having some, and the earth nurses around the country can help to spearhead. So that's some of the ways in which the public can get informed. We're working on an Earth Youth. Youth are, and I know the national policy on youth is out for consultation, so we're sort of taking that on board as well. Everybody, in a way, Gregory, could be an Earthmedic or an Earthnurse once you realize that this planet that God made that supports our lives. Once you realize that, you start to attend to it and pay attention, protect it. You're actually being an Earthmedic or an Earthnurse, if you will.
Okay. Well, Dr. Hospitalis, I want to thank you very much for joining us this morning, because I think this is very important for us to all be aware of and to also take part in, you know, cleaning up our own surroundings individually, and then, you know, it contributes to the growth of the world and to helping the whole world heal at this point. Yeah? So thank you very much for joining us this morning, Dr. James Hospitalis, founder of Earthmedic, as we celebrate Earthmedic and Earthnurse Day right here on the Now Morning Show. It's November 4th.